I gotta be honest, I'm feeling a little bit of a copycat, because the video you're watching is something that other channels are doing a lot, and I've never done that. But I see that apparently people like it, so I figured why not give it a try, see how it goes. As I said, I want to try out new things with LiveProg, and this is one of them. But at the same time, I can't help feeling a little bit like a copycat. So I hope you don't mind, but you know what? Let's just give it a try.
Hi, this is Nick Barrett from Pendragon, and you are listening to LiveProg. No, you are watching LiveProg.
Hey everyone, welcome to LiveProg. I am Marcel Hafster, and yes, this is the ranking of my Pendragon albums. And I specifically say my Pendragon albums because, well, for a reason I'll explain later in this video. I don't have all of the albums. I do have a lot of them. I have 17 of them, well 16 actually. The 17th, there is something special with that, but I'll show you in a moment. And so that's why I'm doing a ranking of my albums, all of them. I include some albums that others in a ranking of might leave out, but I decided, you know what, let's put it in. Let's put everything in and let's make it a fun video, basically, that I can show you my Pendragon albums. Pendragon is for me, it's a top 5 progressive rock band. In my book, they don't have a bad album, so it's not a ranking from worst to best. It's more of a ranking from least played to most played. And even that ranking got a bit shaky when I started listening to the older albums that I didn't listen that much in the past. So I got to thinking, you know, I'm going to do, you know, it's going to be an easy thing, this ranking. And then I found out that it wasn't as easy as I thought, because it's still a bit of a challenge. I mean, how you rank albums from a band that you love so much. So that's going to be something. But I'm going to give it a try, and let's start with that 17th one. That is this one, Nostradamus. It's more of a CD single. It was at the merch stand at a concert many years ago, and I saw it, and being a fan of the band, being a collector of their music, I decided, of course, I want to have it. So I have it, which is very cool. And on the inside, there's this a little paper they put in with tour dates from 1994, which is it's just nice to have, you know, a momentum from those days. All right, let's start with the official ranking, and we're going to start with number 16, and we're going to work our way up to number 1. And of course, I'm curious if you have any idea which could be at my number 1 spot. If you know me well, you might know it. It's yeah, definitely my favorite album, but we're going to get to that. We're going to start with number 16, and I gotta be honest, I have my doubts on it, but someone has to be at the bottom, so acoustically challenged. It's a live album, but it's a stripped down version of Pendragon. It's just Nick Barrett, Peter G, and Clive Nolan on guitar, bass guitar, and keyboards. There are no drums in it. It's an acoustic setting, and I don't play this very much because I gotta be honest, I love the big, you know, the full band thing with the drums and with everything on it. But at the same time, when you listen to the songs, and I once heard that when you take away all the bombastic elements, when you strip down a song to its bare essentials, like guitar and piano, for example, and you still have a beautiful song, then you know you have a good song. Well, that's what Pendragon proves with this album, that even though you strip these big bombastic tracks of everything bombastic, you bring it down to the core, it still is a beautiful album. So I gotta be honest, when I was listening to it, I was really enjoying it. So that's why I'm a little, you know, not comfortable with it being on spot number 16, but like I said, something has to be there. It might sound a bit strange because this is also an album I don't play very much, but I have very good reason to rank it just a little bit higher. The very, very bootleg, Live in Lille 1992. It's a bit of a fan club release. Again, you know, it was with the merch. I picked it up because I love it. It only has a couple of tracks. Excalibur, Total Recall, Queen of Hearts. That's the reason, because Queen of Hearts is just such an amazing song. And We'll Go Hunting Deer and Solid Heart. What I did notice is that it is a kind of a bootleg recording, because the sound quality is not bad, but I had to put the volume of my stereo way up to get a decent, you know, listening thing from it. So yeah, but I'm still very happy to have it. Number 14. The Rest of Pendragon. The B is crossed out and it's made of an R. It would have been the best of Pendragon. They had 2 albums out and an EP out by that time. So you have, of course, a lot of tracks from these first 2 albums, but there are a couple of other tracks in it that are different. And well, you see it on the artwork. I mean, the artwork is quite nice. You have songs like Lady Luck, Chase the Jewel, Elephants Never Grow Old, Searching, Contact, and then you have Red Shoes. And there are, I gotta be honest, Pendragon in the first few albums did a few of these kind of cheesy songs that made me like, okay, I prefer, you know, the later stuff. At the same time, when I was listening to this album and when I came to, for example, the track The Red Shoes, which is probably the only danceable song Pendragon ever made. If there are more, let me know in the comments which song you can dance to as well. But Red Shoes is a danceable song, and I have been to shows where they play that song, and I gotta be honest, once they play it, it's like, I mean, it's my favorite band doing this fun song. So who am I to you know, have critic on that? It's not my favorite song, but still, I really enjoy listening to this album, especially because of those songs, but I don't play it that much, and that's why I'm happy I did this video, because that gave me a kind of a reason to take out these CDs and listen to them, and that for, you know, if I would do in 6 months, if I do a similar video like this, the ranking might be different, because I've been picking up on these older albums. The same applies for Kowtow. I mean, in general, it's definitely a very good album, but it has, again, a bit of a cheesy song. That's the opening track, Saved by You. But at the same time, there are a couple of amazing tracks on this one. The title track being one of them. 2 AM is a really beautiful song. What can I say? There are a lot of great songs on that one. All right, number 11, no, number 12. The Jewel, the first full-length album by Pendragon. This was also the very first album I ever heard of the band. I discovered progressive rock in 1993 when a friend of mine lent me his copy of Clutching at Straws by Marillion. And before that, I was just listening to pop music. And when I was listening to that, I knew Kaylee. I mean, everybody knows Kaylee. And I knew Incommunicado, by the way, because that also has been a small hit of Marillion in the Netherlands. So those 2 songs I knew. So I thought, okay, hey man, can I borrow that album? Because I know 2 songs of them. And when I listened to that album, that it opened up a whole new world for me. So when I visited that friend and I saw all the music that he had, and he had a lot of neo-prog, he had a lot of SI music stuff in it, but he also had this one. And I listened to it and it was like, okay, this is nice music, I like that. So I kept it in the back of my mind. At that time, I kind of, well, didn't forget about Pendragon, but I had so much music that came up to me. So this was kind of stored away for later reference. And we'll get to that with the next album. Now you may be thinking, hey, wasn't there something more of the Jewel? Yes, there was. It was being re-released. I haven't forgotten that. It's also at number 12. It's pretty much the same album with 2 additional tracks, Armageddon and Insomnia, and a different artwork. Yeah, well, which of the artwork do you prefer? I gotta be honest, I prefer this. I don't know, for some reason, maybe nostalgic feelings, but anyway, the Jewel is my number 12 on this one. Okay, we're coming close up to the top 10, but first we have number 11, and that is Believe. And this is an interesting album because you had these older albums like The Jewel, like Kowtow, and then you had kind of a change in their style with The World, with The Window of Life, with The Masquerade Overture, and with Not of This World. And at that point, I picked up some chatter about people kind of complaining that the band was releasing the same album over and over again, which is of course completely not true, but I understand where it comes from. The sound in general was the same, the artwork was kind of similar, and I don't know if the band did that because of that or that they already had plans to do it, but they kind of really changed their sound and their look, and that was Believe. And I gotta say, when this was released, you got that same people that were kind of complaining about the old albums all being the same, complaining like, yeah, but this album doesn't sound anything like you did before. And I was like, oh man, it's never right with people, you know? You're doing it wrong. When you change it, you're still doing it wrong. So whatever, never listen to that. Just do your own thing. So I gotta be honest, this album really took me a while to get into. It started when they were playing these tracks live. That really helped to get into it. My wife loved it instantly. It became one of her favorite albums way before I really got into it. But right now, yeah, I'm definitely into it, and I definitely play this album a lot more. Alright, the top 10, and we're gonna kick it off with 915 Live, which I believe was the second released by Pendragon. This was from 1986 and Kauto was from 1988. So they had a studio album, an EP, and then they had a live album. But this is a fantastic live album. Absolutely, I love it very much. I play this regularly. Yeah, and again, also on this one you have Red Shoes. It's on it as well. But for some reason it really works when you're in that live mood. Like I said, when they were playing the song Red Shoes live, it really worked because it is a fun song. But apart from that, this is absolutely a brilliant live album. My number 9 is another live album, Utrecht The Final Frontier. This comes more into the area where I really discovered Pendragon, which was a few years after I heard The Jewel. That was somewhere in 93. Somewhere in 95 I really picked up on the band. In 98 I went to my first Pendragon concert. Well, that's no. I'll wait with that story until I get to the album, which played a role in that. But you know, this was released in 95. It was a little bit before that. The main reason why I love this one so much is because, of course, it is a concert from the Netherlands, but also The Last Man on Earth is on it. And that is, just like Queen of Hearts, is one of my absolute favorite Pendragon tracks. Maybe I should do a ranking of my favorite Pendragon tracks. At least you know 2 of them, which will end up really high. Number 8. Another one that kind of took me a while to really get into, despite the fact that I was on the release of this album. There was the first Mega Days I went to see together with my wife. We had a hotel at the Boerderij, which was so much fun. I completely humiliated myself there. At that Mega Days, they had something sort of idols, The Voice, X Factor kind of thing, where, you know, anyone could sign up, they could go on stage and they perform The Freak Show from Pure. And there would be Clive and a few others, they would be the judges. And I'm a terrible singer, but I decided, all right, you know what, I'm gonna throw myself at the wolves, I'm gonna do it. And I was kind of nervous about it, so I kind of dressed myself up all the way like some sort of gangster to, you know, maybe overcome my stage fright a little bit. I've been rehearsing and singing the song to make sure I knew it. And then the music starts, and you know, The Freak Show has quite a long intro. And I was at that point like, when do I need to start singing? And I had no idea. So at a certain point, I just started singing. And of course, I was way off. And after a few lines, they cut me off. And it's like, man, when you start singing, you'll be done before the band is done. So yeah, I was way off, but hey, I did it. And that is something, it's a nice memory. So, you know, at that point, the album was released, and I absolutely love the album very much, but for some reason I don't play it that much. It's still an album that, I don't know why, but for some reason it's hard for me to put it on and get into, even though it is absolutely an amazing album. And it does feature still, I gotta be honest, still one of my favorite drummers, Scott Hyam. Alright, we're going to number 7, and here we're coming into the albums that definitely get a lot of play here at LiveProg HQ. The World. Yeah, like I said, Queen of Hearts, but not just Queen of Hearts. I always found Shane an interesting song on this album, and I put on from Order Comes Chaos, the DVD, a while back, and there they include Back Into the Spotlight, the opening track of this album, and they include Shane, and it was like so great to see that song live again. But that was one of the tracks I love, but pretty much all tracks of this album I love very much. So yeah, and also the artwork, this is the kind of artwork I really love, and that's what I always associate Pendragon with that artwork. Number 6 might actually be a bit of a surprise. That's one of the more recent albums, Love Over Fear. Now, as you may have noticed, I have been away for a while and I missed out a lot. And I missed out a lot of music. And I do remember, I believe Man Who Climbed Mountains was released. But that was just in a period that things were not going well with me and I kind of moved away from the progressive rock world. So I never got that album and I never got the albums that came after that. So this is the only album from that period that I already got. The other two, Man Who Climbed Mountains and North Star, I still need to get my hands on. But this one I got because, well, my former employer gave me a gift card as a bonus for something. And I decided, all right, we're going to exchange it for some music. And I found in their store, I found Love Over Fear. So I decided, you know what, I want to buy it. And I gotta say, I've been listening to this album quite a bit and I really love it. It is really growing on me. I still need to play it a lot more because all of these albums that I have here, except for this one, I have for, well, decades, I would almost say. For at least more than 10 years. This one I have for like, well, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. I don't know, I don't remember when I got it, but I don't have it that long yet. But even though I don't have it for that long yet, it's still already high up in my list because I have been playing it a lot and I am definitely loving this album quite a bit. The top 5. We're getting closer to the number 1. The Masquerade Overture. This was actually the second Pendragon album I bought, and I have the one with the bonus CD. And I'm still very happy that I have this version because, well, it is a fantastic album. And also the bonus tracks that you find on the second disc are amazing. I believe this album has been re-released with the inclusion of those tracks, but well, I still have the original one. In a way, I when I listen to this album, the first tracks, I always have like, okay, do I like them? Do I like them? The Masquerade Overture it's an overture. Paintbox I love very much. As Good as Gold is very good. Then The Pursuit of Excellence is one of those tracks that is not really my favorite, but then you have Guardian of My Soul, The Shadow, and Masters of Illusion, and those tracks are really fantastic. So altogether, yes, I love this album very much. And like I said, the second album I bought from Pendragon. Then on number 4, this might be a surprising one, but the Fallen Dreams and Angels EP. Now, this one was released in 1994, but it is possible that I believe that way back they started out with a Fallen Dreams and Angels EP, but it might be a different track listing. I gotta be honest, I didn't really do my homework on that quite well because I was doing just the ranking of these albums. But this is an album that I listen to quite a lot. I really love this one, especially all of them. All of the tracks, I love them very much. This is really something I play very much because I also the artwork again, I love that stuff quite a bit. All right, we end up with the top 3 and we're getting close to my number 1. But at number 3, an album that has been very important to me in becoming a fan of Pendragon. Like I said, I discovered Pendragon in 93 and it was somewhere in 95 that I bought this one, The Window of Life. And the story why I bought this is interesting because I went to a record store and I was like, okay, I love this whole progressive rock thing. The progressive rock albums have this kind of, you know, artwork that is typical for a progressive rock album. And I just want to have an album with that specific artwork. So I was just browsing and I came across this one and I saw the cover. And of course I saw it was Pendragon, so it's like, okay, that is a band I have heard something of. I know that band, so I'll probably like it. But I just bought this album because of the cover. And I was listening to it and it's like, I was absolutely blown away. It's like, wow, this is amazing music. So beautiful. I love each and every song of it. I gotta be honest, The Last Man on Earth is absolutely my favorite track on it. Although Ghosts and Breaking the Spell, they are also really amazing. And well, pretty much every single track on this album is so beautiful. The cool thing is, I bought this somewhere in 1995. When I met my wife, I played this to her, of course, and she started to love it as well. The Last Man on Earth became her favorite track. And then we married in 97. In 98, something interesting happened. Like I said, I went to see Pendragon in 98. In 98, my wife told me, like, Celine Dion was coming to the Netherlands and she wanted to go to Celine Dion. And she's a big fan of her. And I was like, okay, you know, we're married. We were married for a couple of months and I'll go with you. But I said, you know, there's another band that I want to go to, and that's called Pendragon, you know, from this album. You want to go? And she said, all right. So we went, it was 2 nights in a row. One night we went to see Pendragon, and the next night we went to see Celine Dion. Afterwards, she told me she enjoyed the Pendragon show a lot more than the Celine Dion stadium concert. So from that moment on, she became a fan of the band as well. And we went to see a lot more concerts of the band. And like I said, she became a fan just as I am. Well, Being Believe was one of her favorite albums. So yeah, this album is absolutely very special to me. All right, number 2. Well, there's not a lot to guess, right? Not a lot to guess. Not of This World. What can I say? What can I say about this album? This album is so beautiful. Every track of it, the artwork of it, the story behind it. What I love, and that I love for more albums like The Window of Life, Masquerade Overture, and The World, is the detail in the artwork, which is so awesome. But yeah, if I take the albums from The World up to Not of This World, this one for me is like the culmination of everything they've done before that. It is such an amazing album, and this was released. Wow. This was also, I believe, this was released in 2001. At that year, they played at Bospop in the Netherlands. That was the first time I had an interview with Clive Nolan, and we went backstage, and then we met the band, and it was really an amazing experience. And we watched them front row playing there in the rain. It was a really amazing time. That made this album even more special to me. So yeah, this is absolutely my number 2, my second most played album by Pendragon. Well, I don't think it's very difficult to guess my number 1 then, right? Yeah, this one, Pure. This from the moment this was released, from the moment I heard it, I loved it. In all fairness, this album was also the reason why I bought a record player, because when the band announced they were going to release it on vinyl, I didn't have a record player, and I was like, I want to have that vinyl. I want to have it. And I needed a record player, so I bought a record player specifically for the Pure album. And to this very day, I mean, the songs on it, the lyrics especially resonate with me. Indigo, if I could get just one arm free, there's a chance the world will notice me. Wow, that really touches me. And also Comatose, there's so much in it that I love. Again, from start to finish, this is a great album. The Freak Show, maybe the heaviest song Pendragon has in the repertoire. Again, when I heard that one, I loved it. That is a song my volume goes way up when I play it. But also, the last track of that album, It's Only Me. It is, oh man, I get goosebumps when I listen to that. So yeah, this is absolutely my number 1 Pendragon album. If there's one album, yeah, this one. It is. So, there you have it. All my 17 albums of Pendragon ranked from least played to most played. So, what do you think of the list? Let me know in the comments what you think of it. I'm of course curious, what is your ranking? What is your number 1 Pendragon album? Leave it in the comments, let me know about that. And all I can say now is, thank you for watching and keep enjoying great music.